related to data sharing. Her focus areas includes open data, artificial intelligence, and data-driven government. And she has a PhD in law from the University of Oslo on how to realize responsible data-driven public administration. So give her a big hand, and Heather, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Niels. So I'm going to outline a framework for trustworthy artificial intelligence in the public sector that we use in Norway. Now, I just want to preface this. It's not a formal framework or an official framework that we have, but it's very much the elements that we use for trustworthy AI in the public sector. So we see a huge opportunity in Norway for the use of AI in the public sector, both to deliver better and more timely and indeed more context-aware services, while also creating the efficiencies we so urgently need. And these aren't just efficient, Norway is certainly not unique here in needing to create efficiencies with the public sector. But at the same time, we're hugely aware of the challenges that artificial intelligence brings. We're walking this tightrope here, and I'll just show you kind of on the slide here as well. We're kind of walking a tightrope here of trying to get a balance for how do we harness this really powerful technology while at the same time ensuring that it remains trustworthy. Because losing trust in the Norwegian public administration is quite frankly just simply not an option. Trust has been hard-earned over very many generations, and it must be renewed every single day. So we also don't claim to have all the answers. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you all that we have this all solved in Norway. I don't think anyone would believe me. But we're building on very strong foundations, and we're putting new building blocks in place, systematically and deliberately, to enable innovation without compromising trust, that balancing act that we're all trying to achieve. So one example here is the establishment of our government AI unit in the Digitalisation Agency of Norway, which I'm currently leading the establishment of. It's designed to accelerate innovative and responsible AI development and use. So I'm just going to outline the 6 core elements of our framework, and you'll see them here behind me as well. So first is legitimate and trusted institutions. Norway benefits from high institutional trust, and safeguarding these institutions is just simply non-negotiable. We cannot lose trust in these institutions. They must be safeguarded. Second is shared public values. In the public sector, AI must reflect our fundamental values: equality, fairness, accountability. We openly acknowledge risks like bias and power asymmetries, and trust requires confronting these risks. We don't ignore them. Third, then, is robust governance. Guardrails must be in place if AI is to strengthen rather than undermine trust. So we combine extensive national legislation governing public services, decades-old legislation, together with European regulation, including the forthcoming transposition of the Artificial Intelligence Act in Europe. And we do complementary soft law mechanisms as well, such as, of course, standards and guidelines. And as our minister, who will join the panel quite soon, will likely elaborate upon, we also, our safeguarding children online is also very high on the governance agenda in Norway. Fourth, then, is high-quality public data. As Niels mentioned there, it's very close to my heart. And AI is only as trustworthy as the data it relies upon. For decades now, Norway has collected high-quality public sector data, both to build and support our welfare state. This data is professionally managed, and it's highly prioritised to share this data, both openly and under controlled access. Public data is not merely a technical asset, but is also a societal one. Fifth, then, is a well-informed and highly digitalised population. Norwegians are digitally mature, exactly as the population here in India. And there are very high expectations for transparency, explainability, and fairness. Sixth, then, is targeted research. AI presents very complex and often unpredictable risks, as we are all aware of. Addressing them requires deep multidisciplinary expertise. Close engagement with research is therefore essential, and Norway is investing heavily in public sector artificial intelligence research. One great example of this is the Trust Research Centre, which has organised this session, and we are all members here, so the Norwegian Digitalisation Agency is a core partner here, along with many other public and private sector bodies, so it's very much research, public and private sector. So to conclude, our framework is a balancing act, and we tried to depict this on the diagram here behind me. Each element is dependent upon the other, so there's an interdependency here. If one fails, the whole structure fails. We do not claim to have solved every challenge. Like all countries, this is a work in progress, but Norway is entering this transformation consciously and deliberately. So that's thank you from me, and I'm handing over now to Hildegunn McLernan from Kongsberg Maritime.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Heather, and good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Hildegunn McLernan. I'm the Senior Vice President of Technology Office at Kongsberg Maritime. And I will show a little bit about AI in the industry. It's similar aspects as the public sector on many aspects. And I will give some examples of also how we need trustworthy AI going forward. So a little bit about Kongsberg Maritime. We are a leading global technology partner for the maritime industry, specializing in innovative and integratable systems that can enable a safer, cleaner, and more efficient operations. So our products, they range from digital and emerging technologies. We have the energy systems on board vessel. We have the controls and automation, including dynamic positioning, for example. And we also have one of the largest portfolio of propulsion and handling equipment. And all of this is serviced with 24/7 global customer support. We are today over 8,000 employees and operating out of 35 countries. And I think what's most importantly when it comes to AI and digitalization is that we have equipment on over 30,000 vessels. And this is 1/3 of the international maritime fleet. So you can imagine the impact and the amount of data and opportunities that are out there. Some of the drivers in the industry is shown on this slide. Waterborne trade is about 80 to 90% of the global transportation. So it's a really critical factor across the world. It's also increasing. It's the most sustainable mode of transport. And with an increasing population, there is an increase in also waterborne trade. At the same time, we have a decline in workers in the industry. We need to attract talents, so we need to have attractive technology. And we also need to have smarter technology so that we can automate and have less people on board the vessel required in the future. The other trend is decarbonization and digitalization. So the maritime industry is going towards net zero by 2050. And we're doing this jointly, using also digitalization as one of the key enablers. Using the insights that we have from data to integrate solutions is really helping us to also have smarter integratable solutions that can decarbonize better. And then with the increase of digitalization, it's also the increase of security threat and the focus on safety and cybersecurity in particular. There is an increase in regulations, and we see because we are a global industry, the regulations can be quite diverse, coming from different parts of the world, and it can be complex to operate in a safe and secure manner. But this is one of the key drivers also on new technology, and we need to stay ahead and make sure that we have safe and secure operations. So what do we think that the future looks like? So we believe that in the future, all vessels will be connected. And this is really shaping the next frontier of digital integration. This is changing the way that we're operating. So we will have to be continuously updating our solutions. The vessels are built today to last for at least 25 years, but the technology is evolving very fast. So setting up the correct infrastructure and also having the support from land is very key. And this can provide a lot of new solutions going forward. We will do remote support, so you don't need to send a service engineer out on the vessel to do upgrades as we are doing today, but we will have more continuous and preventive maintenance and over-the-air upgrades. We can also integrate a lot more from what's happening on the vessel, what's happening on the port, and what's happening in the broader logistic chain. So the value chain integration, optimizing the vessel performance and even the fleet operation will be possible in the future. And then we're seeing the shift already. We have some remote and autonomous vessels operating. It's really exciting technology, and we believe this will really optimize how the whole industry goes forward. With the increase on waterborne trade, the lack of workers and the attractiveness, I think having autonomous vessel and having remote support is really changing. So this is how we see the industry is going, and I think AI is really a key enabler in many of these aspects. And here is one example. We have a lot of focus on hydrodynamic. How can we have competitive and the best equipment out there? And we do a lot of developments and research over the years on hydrodynamic. Every hull and propeller are unique. And then from the design, we can also then monitor and collect data in operation. So when we collect that data, real-time information on how the propeller is performing, we can also then apply AI and learn from the patterns. And we can optimize when it comes to underwater radiated noise, which will affect our biodiversity, for example. We can have more efficient operation. We can have faster acceleration on ferries, for example. And it can give many benefits, like also preventing and measuring wear and tear on the propeller, and we can avoid that we will have failures in operation. So this is just one example on what type of value will this type of data that we will gather create. So that's, we can apply AI, and we are doing it today. We're doing a lot of research, but what we see is very key is we need to have the human interaction, and we need to ensure that humans accept and trust the solutions that we have. So bridging the gap between human expectation and the AI output, it's really key to us. And that's why we are doing a lot of research into AI. How can we make sure that we have robust and sound and secure solutions, and that they operate in the expected way? So one of the centers that we have joined is the AI Research Center, the Norwegian Center for Trustworthy AI, that is led by Professor Martin Dahlen from University of Oslo, and I'll hand it now over to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hildegunn. If you have trust in something, that thing should be trustworthy. And if you develop something that is trustworthy, I or anyone else should have trust in that thing. And trustworthiness and trust is kind of difficult. Some people will say, a mission impossible. I will come back to this title. What we have done at Trust, together with our partners, we have 4 of us here, even more, and we also have Sintef here, is that we try to define the direction where we want to go. The first direction, we want to have accuracy. We want AI to be precise. At least we want to know the precision. We want those who is producing AI system to explain what's behind the hood. We want AI to be fair, inclusive, and protect our autonomy. We want AI to be safe, secure, and protect our privacy. And we want AI to be sustainable. We want to develop green AI for the green transition. And finally, also want this AI to be well-governed on all levels. And Nils talked about this, both on international level, on national level, on organizational level, and even on individual level. However, these 6 is not enough. We can do this in the lab or very locally. We have to scale it. So trustworthiness is also what happens when we scale things. The title I have is about that AI is heavy industry. It's basically hunting for critical minerals. It's very thirsty because this data center is using a lot of water, and it's also using a lot of energy. Where are the direction, where are the pathways for this? It has been mentioned by both Hildegunn, Heather, and Nils, different pathways here. What we see here is that we have to move from large to small models, maybe moving the intelligence closer to the edge. Within hardware side, we have neuromorphic development across the world. The most effective thinking instrument we have is between our ears. Neuromorphism is about copying what we are doing between our ears. And optical computing is about using photons instead of electrons. Data sharing is something we have to think about. Maybe we should also refine all the data we have around. Data reduction is something that many researchers are looking into because we are filling up data centers with a huge amounts of data. And of course, there are also research groups around the world, including Trust, looking at how can we organize data centers in the future. The other pathway is, of course, the governance pathway that has been mentioned. When we develop future environmental social governance frameworks, we have to think of the AI awareness. Niels also mentioned standardization, also mentioned by Heather. What are the key performance indicators for the future? Because we can solve one problem, but that might create another problem. So these indicators are important to develop. And how do we prioritize Earth health alongside human user needs? Human users, we are a part of the planet, but there are also other things on this planet. And of course, I'm in favor of looking into how can we tax these systems, how can we tax digital resources, and use these types of money to really reproduce what we want in the future. So far, I've been a little bit negative. However, there is also some positive things when it comes to AI, because AI also can be a catalyst for the green transition. I don't have time to talk about all of these things. This has been mentioned by Hildegunn, Nils, and Heather. But one of the issues we are going into, and one of the projects we are launching these days in Trust, is that we combine climate data, health data, to look at climate-sensitive diseases. And on Monday, 2.5 days from now, we are starting a seminar in Kigali in Rwanda on these questions. My big question, there are many big questions within the realm of AI. Can AI help decouple economic growth from overuse of Earth's resources? Thank you very much. And then, Mala, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Morten, and thank you to all our speakers. Norway may be a small country, but we have always had a global outlook. From the Viking voyages to the polar expeditions and to modern maritime innovation. Today, as you know, we are entering a new era of exploration, artificial intelligence. So let us once again turn to the central question of this session. What does it truly take to build trustworthy AI? To deepen our understanding on this topic, we are joined by an outstanding panel, as you can see. But first, as this is a Norwegian-led session, it is my great pleasure to welcome Norway's Minister of Digitalization and Public Governance, Karianne Tung.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for being here. Also, dear co-panelists, thank you for joining us here today. And thank you to Trust and their partners for, and I would say particular, the Norwegian Digitalization Agency for putting together today's program for raising this important issue related to the responsible and trustworthy use of artificial intelligence. As we all know, and I think we see it already, artificial intelligence will play a decisive role in shaping future innovation, future growth, and also future competitiveness. And importantly, and I think this is the best sentence of today, so listen very carefully, I think artificial intelligence can help create a better world by reducing inequality, improving health and safety, supporting green transition, and promoting creativity and education. However, to realize this potential, AI must be safe, it must be trustworthy, and it must be secure. It is a priority for the Norwegian government to establish sound and reliable frameworks for all development and use in this era. In Norway, the government is taking action. We are in the process of implementing the EU AI Act into Norwegian law, and we are also ensuring that Norwegian actors have access to high-performance computing and data storage capacity. And also, we are developing national foundation and language models that everyone can use free of charge. At the same time, we are establishing something we in Norwegian called KI Norge. It's directly translated to AI Norway, even that might not be the official title yet. We are working on that one. But I really believe that this establishment of AI Norway will strengthen national guidance on responsible use of AI. And if there is one thing I hear from business leaders or if it's the public sector, they are uncertain. So establishing this good body of guidance will be really important to make sure that we adopt and implement and use AI in a proper way. We are also investing in knowledge. That's why we are here. That's why we're here at Trust. Norway has allocated more than 1 billion Norwegian kroners, that is about $100 million, to 6 research centers on artificial intelligence, and Trust is, of course, one of them. At the same time, and crucial for success, Norway must cooperate with like-minded countries. We are already participate actively and exert influence through the UN, the OECD, GPI, and the Hiroshima process, which was the first global framework on responsible artificial intelligence. Because we must learn from each other, simply but hard enough. We must continue to build and share knowledge about the implication of the technology. Together, we must develop technologies and governance models that build trust in public authorities, in public and private services, and that support democratic values and foster trust in society. Together, I believe we must contribute to, and not least ensure, the practical implementation of an international frameworks for responsible AI. So I'm really happy for this opportunity to get together and discuss from our different perspective. And also I am really happy and impressed by being here in India and Norway as an EFTA country as well. With the EFTA-India trade agreement, I can see great opportunities for the future for Norway and India also to work together on the green transition and the maritime industry with health tech, and also, of course, with the digital technology and artificial intelligence run across all of those sectors. So by that, thank you so much for the attention. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Minister. Now we're moving over to the panel discussion, as promised, to bring some more global perspectives to this session. And I will just do a quick introduction. I'll start from that side. We have Luana Roncarate from Brazil. You can see the details, of course, on the screen. We have from our host country, Amlan Mohanty and Sindhu Gangadharan. And from Japan, we have Mr. Yukio Teramura, and of course, our minister here. I have challenged you all for a quick lightning round. And since our minister, you're going to leave us a little bit earlier, I heard. We'll get a signal, I'm sure. From where you sit, what does trustworthy AI mean to you? So that's supposed to be short but sweet.
I can be really short. It means that you should trust the technology and then trust society, trust businesses, trust politicians, trust authorities, trust your friends.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mr. Teramura?
Okay, trustworthy AI is fundamental to the AI governance policy of the Japanese government. And Japan is committed to the balancing and the promotion of innovation with risk management. And Japan launched the AI basic plan last December. And it also stipulated that by pursuing the trustworthy AI. And Japan aims to become the most AI-friendly country in the world.
Wonderful. And we will hear more about that AI plan later on. Yes, then we'll move on. Oh, you don't have a microphone? Oh, sorry. We have to share these. Mala, I think I'll keep it short. For me, I reflect back on what I heard earlier on, and for me personally, it just can't, trust in AI just can't be about of accuracy. That's one important piece, but it has to be also about reliability. I mean, you need to be able to rely on the outcomes, right? And it's also about transparency. Very important is fairness. And finally, I think it's also about accountability, having somebody who is like, okay, that's the decision the algorithm took, but still I stand by that decision, right? So these are 5 important aspects for me.
Very important. And then, yes, we have to share these microphones.
No problem at all. 2 things for me. To trust something, I need to understand how it works. And 2 is I want agency, so I want choice in the matter. In case I don't trust something, I want to have an option. So that's the 2 things.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the question. In my point of view, I think to be trustworthy, it needs to be inclusive, sustainable, and also respects human rights and national jurisdictions. Sounds very good. To reflect a bit on the values concerning us all, yesterday Prime Minister Modi spoke about the importance of protecting children and young people from the risks of AI. And you've also been, Minister, very clear that safeguarding children online is a priority for you and for Norway. Could you shed some light on what are you doing to protect Norwegian children and youth?
Of course, I really believe that children and young people have the right to be as protected in the digital world as in the physical world. And as by now, they are not. When we leave our children at schools or they play with friends, there's always adults there looking after them, like looking over. In the digital world, no one is there to take care of them. The big tech companies today, they have a lot of power. They gather a lot of data. We can see examples which is not very nice on what children are being exposed of. It leads to pressure, bullying, even examples of suicide, as we have seen. So there is a real need to protect children and young people online. That's why the Norwegian government now are proposing an age limit on social media on 15 years old. We are working together with partners in the European Union also. And I'm really happy that I heard both President Macron and Prime Minister Modi yesterday. That was great news. I feel that more and more countries are coming aboard because we are starting to see the real consequences. But also we have to regulate the tech companies as well, or the social medias, when it comes to dark patterns, dependencies, algorithms, and so forth. We have launched, or we are right now having a white paper at the Parliament in Norway as well. And at the end, I have to say, it's right to find the right balance, because we want to bring up children in this world that have digital competence as well. They have to learn to use the technology and to understand the technology and to do the critical thinking as well. So to find the right balance is about giving the teachers and the adults the right competence to teach the children the right things as well. So we have to be able to have 2 thoughts in our heads at the same time.
Absolutely. And having a safe society, it's also about social stability. Which brings me over to you, Mr. Takamura. Japan is known for balancing innovation and social stability. So how is this this philosophy, so to speak, reflected in the new national AI strategy?
Okay, the utilization of AI is directly linked to the industrial competitiveness and national security. And it's ideal to actively utilize AI to address social challenges, accumulate experience as data, and share it across organizations, thereby accelerating innovation and creating a virtuous cycle that further promotes its utilization. Japan is facing the declining the birth rate and an aging population, and leading to the gradually shrinking society. But making utilization of AI leading the increasingly important. Nevertheless, unfortunately, AI has not yet been actively utilized in the daily life. Because it is recognized that the utilization of AI involves the various risks. For example, the technical risks such as misjudgment, hallucinations, and inappropriate output. And social risks such as discrimination and bias and criminal use, infringement of the privacy and the intellectual properties. And another one is the national security risk, including cyber attacks. Yeah, so these risks cause public anxiety. Yeah, so in the AI basic plan, therefore the pursuit, the trustworthy AI is not only essential for the dispelling public concern on risks, but also a crucial factor in actively utilizing AI and promoting innovation. Yeah, so in the AI basic plan, Japan pursue further promoting innovation while mitigating risks. And we will deepen the balance to ensure a human-centered AI society where the individual dignity is respected so that people, AI can work together continuously and pursue trustworthy AI to realize the most AI-friendly country in the world.
Thank you. Building on that, you mentioned AI friendly. I will move on to you, Ms. Gangadharan. You're often described as a technology humanist. I just have to ask you about that. What does that mean?
Well, I think it's very simple, Mala, because technology cannot be there for technology's sake, right? I mean, we have technology to make the lives of people better and communities better. And probably it reflects back also on the whole theme of this AI Impact Summit that we are having here, right? It's really about how do we take it forward? How do we bring people forward? I love what the minister was saying. I mean, it's finally about how do we make it real for people to consume, right? So for me, it has always been not about, hey, what's the latest and greatest technology, but really how do we use that technology to shape and change. I can just give you, I know we are all talking about AI at this point, but if I just also reflect a few years back, right? I mean, we had a massive pandemic, right? And if I just take that example, the second wave of the pandemic was quite tough for India. At least many of you here in this audience would still remember that. But at the same time, I still remember how all of us kind of leveraged technology. And back then, the biggest need of the hour in India was to track the oxygen supply chain along the length and breadth of the country. And if I put on my SAP hat, I work for SAP, and back then it was really about how do we identify the top oxygen manufacturers in the country and use technology to be able to help the government of India have this digital dashboard that helped them to very quickly track the oxygen supply chain, right? And it was almost leveraging technology over the weekend, right? Because 80% of the oxygen manufacturers in the country run on SAP, but that's besides the fact. But it's about usage of technology for people and to save lives, right? So that possibly goes back to the tech humanist, what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, excuse me, we'll do the questions later. Please sit down. Please, thank you. Was it a pandemic or a bio-warfare? No, please, sir. Please, sir. Thank you. Well, actually, following India through the pandemic was quite impressive from Norway. I remember my uncle asking me if I had the vaccine, and he had it like a year ago, and we didn't have the vaccine. So, okay, we're going to move on to Amlan. When we had our preparatory chat, there were so many things you could talk about. But I'm going to stick to the fact that you're a tech lawyer and advisor to the Indian government on the AI guidelines. I was wondering, how would you describe the values that the policy is built upon?
Yeah, look, values, I'm going to interpret values slightly holistically here. So I'm going to talk about values in the sense of what's the spirit driving this, the guidelines, the governance framework, its approach to trust. And I'll just start with optimism. I think India, and you could hear this in Prime Minister Modi's speech yesterday, it's driven by a sense of optimism. And so even when we're talking about governance, it's an expansive view of governance. It's not about containment. It's not about regulation or risk mitigation only. It's also about driving adoption and the importance of capacity building, all of the things that Minister said early on, right? So I think that's the largest spirit in which we're talking about it. When it comes to values specifically, I think it's embodied in what the theme for this summit is, which is inclusivity, equality, access. So that's actually driving a lot of what the spirit of or the values of the governance guidelines are. So you'll see these referenced in the OECD, you'll see this referenced in the GPA conversations and what the UN is doing. And I think that's what India has also internalized in its governance frameworks. So, that's about spirit, the optimistic spirit clearly on display here at the summit, thematically value-based, I think, in terms of what the core values are in the summit. But I'll say in terms of actually implementing it, I think the approach that we're taking in India is that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. These values are embedded in our constitution. These principles of fairness and equality are constitutional rights that Indian citizens have. And there's no reason to believe this doesn't apply to AI, right? So it's really about ensuring that these same values trickle down across from the constitution to how laws are enforced, through how guidelines are implemented by all stakeholders, including companies, including how public officials enforce these laws. So I think that's the light touch kind of regulatory, agile approach that we're bringing to our governance framework in India.
Thank you, Amlan. You mentioned the optimism, and I'm just sensing that the same might be the case in Brazil. Luana, Brazil and India are both part of the BRICS grouping, large democracies with fast-growing economies and increasingly influential, both countries in shaping the global technology debate. And you have also, in Brazil, launched the National Artificial Intelligence Plan. What values are upheld by that plan?
Thank you for your question and for having me. Well, I think it's important to say that for Brazil, and specifically the ministry which I represent here, the Ministry of Management and Innovation in Public Services, understand that AI is not a matter of technology alone. There is a lot about an understanding of and the need for behavior that is responsible, ethical, transparent, that promote inclusion as well. So the plan that we recently launched brings all these values, brings the value of sovereignty as well to work with this important topic. And you know that Brazil has, for the last 2 decades at least, worked a lot with concepts related to digital public infrastructure. And it has been very important for us to promote better services to our population. And we understand that AI can help us to go to a next step and provide more personalized and more proactive public services to our population. But we also understand that we need to mitigate the risks, the challenges, and to do that in a very responsible and ethical manner. And we have been working a lot to promote that, especially related to data governance, data infrastructure, and to safeguard all the human rights and democratic values in this great endeavor that we are dedicated to.
Thank you, Luana. I just got a signal that we have 5 minutes left. I don't know where time went. So I'll back to the minister here. Norway often speaks about digital sovereignty or digital agency. Minister, what does that mean in practice for us? We're sitting here next to quite big countries. What does it mean to a small country?
It means everything. Talking about digital sovereignty, which is really the big topic of all discussions, I would say, today. First of all, Norway is a small country, 5.5 million citizens. We can't be self-sufficient in the digital world. We need cooperation. We need to work together with like-minded countries. Digital sovereignty is not about one thing. digital sovereignty is about a lot of things. It's many layers. It's a whole value chain. It is about everything from regulation, guidelines, framework, but also about critical minerals, semiconductors, data centers, fibers, connectivity, software, hardware. The list is very long. That's why you understand Norway can't be self-sufficient, because it is about a lot of things. But it's important for us to have the ability to act, to have alternatives, I think to have control. We can have control through regulation, ownership, collaborations, working together, and that's the strategy that Norway has chosen, because a lot of different things can happen. We have climate change, fibers, networks can go down. We need to work on the robustness of that one. Cyber attacks already mentioned. We have political risk, which is also now important for us. So having the ability to act and work together with like-minded countries is the important thing for Norway to do, and that's why also I'm happy to be here and feel the spirit from India as well. And I'm really impressed by the work that has been done here when it comes to inclusiveness and scaling. I think we have a lot of things to learn in Norway from that one.
Thank you. I would very hard. Would you like to add something? All right. We're moving towards the end here, but just a quick question for you. Sindhu, India being a complex nation with quite the opposite kind of like large population in terms of size and demographics. For business, AI represents a competitive advantage. At the same time, one has to sort out what's the hype, what's the what will bring actually value to the business or the country as a whole. So I would just like a short remark from you. What do you think India is doing in terms of like making the right choices at this very moment?
Well, I think most of you have probably experienced it firsthand over the last days at the summit in terms of the right choices India is making, right? If you talked about digital public infrastructures earlier on, I mean, think about bringing together a nation of 1.48 billion, right? So we've done that, right? And leveraging the power of technology. And that is a little bit of the foundational work also when we talk about AI. How are we bringing in AI to solve the needs of the country, right? Bringing it into education, into healthcare, into agriculture, right? All of these very pertinent needs of the hour is what we are focusing on, and making it inclusive, right? For the people, for the various states, and according to across the length and breadth. So that's a little bit, and at the same time, what you're also seeing from a tech perspective, Mala, for all the business community here in the room, we have a phenomenal tech ecosystem at play, a consumption ecosystem at play. So the market is phenomenally growing. We're talking about a 7.5% GDP growth, and poised to become the third largest economy in the world very soon. So in that sense, the time is right. So I can only say we are all about partnerships. It's all about inclusion, and we want to leverage tech for driving forward some of those large topics that I touched upon.
Thank you, Sindhu. And it's obvious that regulation alone will not build trustworthy AI, nor by innovation alone. I think it will be built. From this summit, that's what I gather, that it will be built in the intersection of values, maybe power, and also perspectives that you've shared today. This summit has really opened its doors to the world, and perhaps that is the real takeaway, that no nation can build trustworthy AI all by themselves. We have to cooperate. So thank you to our wonderful panel, and thank you to our wonderful audience. Thank you. And please, if you want to learn more about trust, there is a QR code on the screen appearing soon. Please just find out more. Thank you.